Hey guys, welcome to Bar Z. My name's Stan, and today we're doing a little bit of a setup for a practical joke. You know, I've got a reputation to maintain, and I haven't played a joke on anyone in an awfully long time. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer. We're using all these components here on the bench, including the 5-gallon bucket, for a practical joke. So let's bring you in. Let's talk about this a little more. What we're going to do with all this stuff. Well, first of all, we've got a fresh 5-gallon bucket with a lid, snap-on lid, which is our container. Second of all, we've got a piece of square tubing. It's a heavy wall square tube, and we've got some flat plate, and this is what's going to make up our actual tank that sits down inside. This piece of square tube is going to sit inside of the 5-gallon bucket vertically. We've got some Weld-on Fittings. We've got a female 1/2-inch MPT thread and a male 1/2-inch MPT close nipple that's going to get actually welded to the tank. We've got, let me get this out of the way. We've got a little lithium-ion rechargeable battery, which I've been testing to make sure it's going to survive the trip. I've left it on for actually a full month. We've got a fill valve with a little pressure relief, so if it happens to get hot, it'll relieve the pressure and won't explode anything. We've got a little fill valve for the side of the tank. We've got a little miniature gauge for the side of the tank. I've got the recharging unit in case we want to play this practical joke on anyone else. We've got a little recharging setup. We have a couple of fittings. These are the shark bite type fittings that's going to go from our tank to our manifold. And we've got a 12-volt DC air solenoid. We've got a 12-volt DC time delay relay. We've got a micro switch, a little cherry switch that's going to go on the lid, and this simply plugs into this power supply right here, and we're going to make sure the power supply is turned on. Okay, and I've got my finger on the micro switch now. So what's going to happen is tank charged with air, solenoid holding it back, my finger's on the button, and after about a 10-second delay, you're going to hear that solenoid kick. As so. So as soon as that solenoid kicks, the tank releases all of its pressure into a circular manifold, and with peanuts that are laying on top of the manifold is going to be made out of soft copper tubing. It's already coiled up round. I'm just going to build it round to fit inside the bottom of the bucket. So basically we're going to have a square tank with a circular manifold around it, with the solenoid down low and the fill valve up high. So that's what we're building today. So let me get some of this stuff cut up and get to work on the Styro Matic 5000. All right. Okay, well, we're back from all the cutting and forming and fitting and measuring and everything, and we're just ready to assemble. And my square tube, I got 2 holes in it, and notice they are 2 different sizes. My fill valve has a male thread, so I made us a female steel. That's a steel fitting. That's not cast iron. So it's a steel fitting, and I put a little shoulder on it. And that's going to go in there. And then the solenoid is female by female, so I needed a male thread. So I took a close nipple and cut it down and put a little shoulder on that. And that fits in this hole. Here, those are just going to get welded. We've got our end caps already made up. Those are what's going to cap it. In case you want to follow along, this is all 3/16 material. And I've charged 3/16 with 125 PSI before, with no problems, and I actually did a pressure test on it with my pressure washer. I've got a rig where I can go double the rated pressure, and I've actually checked tubing, and it doesn't even start to distort till about 375 with water pressure in it. And I use my pressure washer to create that kind of pressure. So if any of you guys are wondering what kind of pressure square tubing can take, it begins to flatten out and try to turn itself around about 375. You'll see a definite deflection here. I didn't pump it up till failure. I just pumped it up till I saw the distortion. All right, but it's time to get some welding done. We got our end caps we got to get on here, and that's our whole thing right there. So it's welding time. Let me clear the bench and let's get to this welding part. Okay, well, we're done with welding. We went ahead and assembled it. I gave it a little charge of air and put some soapy water in a Febreze bottle and went around and checked for leaks. I found one right in this corner. I had to strip it down and come back to it and grind it out. I had one little pinhole in that corner, but after you're charged, you can check for leaks pretty easily just by spraying soapy water around. Just spray it around your fittings, spray it on your welds, do whatever you need to do. But now the big question is, hey man, how does this thing work? I'm kind of stoked to hook it up and try it. Right now the solenoid's facing the camera, which probably isn't a great thing. I might not blow that thing over. Here, let me move the camera just to the side a little bit, just so it doesn't blow my tripod over. I currently have 125 psi in the tank. And let's hook up our controls real quick. I'm going to dig out my timer. Yeah, we're going to hook up our negative. We're going to hook up our positive. Okay, I got my little time delay relay hooked up. I got my micro switch at the ready. I'm going to hold my micro switch down. And I'm going to find my lithium battery. Plug in my lithium battery there. Okay, we are charged and ready. And I got my finger on the micro switch. And as you remember, 10 seconds. So let's see what this thing does. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Okay, so pretty good. My count was probably a little off, but it depleted its contents almost instantly. Next up, we need to make a manifold, and we're going to make that out of the soft copper and make it so it fits around the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket. Right? That's coming up next. So we've got our manifold done. It's on with those shark bite push to connect type fittings. I've got 1/8 inch holes drilled all the way around. I'm not currently charged, so I think it's time we let's see if it fits in the bucket. It should fit in the bucket just fine, according to my measurements. Oh yeah, got a manifold laying right around the bottom. I gotta make a bracket or something for this little switch up here on top for the lid. So I'll have to make a little tab off of the main tank to hold the switch. Let's go outside and do a test. I got a few peanuts here, not a whole lot. So let's charge it, go outside and throw a few peanuts in it and see how it does. How'd that be? Well, I don't have many down in there. That's all the peanuts I had. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish I had some peanuts. So we're going to give it a little test just with a few in the bottom. I'm outside where I can clean it up reasonably easily. So I can get you on the tripod here. And at least I got a time delay. I can get away from it, right? Zoom in a little bit. Actually, let's zoom out so you can see kind of the aftermath. Got my battery in my back pocket. And remember, we're on a 10-second delay. Oh yeah. So, what a mess. Okay, well, I would call that a successful test with what little peanuts I had. And now that's all that's left to do is do some brackets and things. For like the limit switch, I've got a little bracket I made here. We're just going to tack weld that on here on top. And what that's going to enable me to do, I don't know if you can see, there's a little tiny hole in there. I have to be able to load this thing with peanuts and charge the whole thing and put the lid on without it deploying. So that little hole, I'm going to put a piece of welding wire in there that'll hold the limit switch down, and there'll be another hole on the side of the 5-gallon bucket. After the lid's down, I can slip the wire out and then it's armed. So I had to kind of think about that. And the rest of the electronics, we're going to spin them around and put all the the battery and the timer and everything. We're just going to kind of stash it underneath the solenoid here so they're not in the way. And we've got maximum space for styrofoam to get out. So that's pretty much the end of this. I can bring you back one more time after I've got all the little trinkets put on this thing, but you get the gist of it. We did have a successful test. There was only peanuts up about this high, and it was just one quick burst, just enough to blow them out. So I think that's perfect. I didn't want a big long gush of air. I just wanted a little pop. All right. All right. Well, let's finish this stuff up. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing all buttoned up, and I might bring you back one last time. Okay, well, everything's completed. I'm just going to kind of walk you through everything. Tip the camera up just a little bit. Okay, up on top, we've got a little angle tab I made on the brake real quick, and it's got the cherry switch mounted to the side of that. I got all the wires tucked back behind the solenoid. The power supply is here, which is the little lithium-ion battery. Out in front is the timer, solenoid down below. And here's your filling port. You can fill it here, monitor it here. And we've got a pressure relief over here if in case the tank gets overpressurized. If the tank does get overpressurized, the joke is ruined. But I can I'm going to hold the switch down. And this is going to simulate the 5-gallon bucket lid. I'm going to turn my power supply on here. And we're going to release. And remember, we've got our delay. There it goes. It's just a one-shot thing, just enough to blow those peanuts out of the bucket. Just one quick burst. So pretty happy with that. I did have some afterthoughts on the actual bucket. And let me get the bucket over here and I'll show you what I'm thinking here. Okay, and a bucket magically appears. And see, when this sits down in the bucket, turn off power supply here. We're just running a volt solenoid for no reason. There. Okay. When it comes to the bucket, and remember we're discharging air around the bottom, around the full perimeter of the thing, and it's creating a lift. And up here we're creating a high pressure area from the air being expelled, but there's no return air. There's no way to get air back in. So down at the bottom, we're creating a low pressure area. I'm going to go around the bottom of this bucket and drill 1/2-inch holes down low. So basically it acts as an air replacement. As the air is escaping out of the bucket, we can get fresh air in the bottom to try to create more lift and get the peanuts to pull up a little bit. What that's going to do is going to eliminate the low pressure area down around the bottom of the bucket. All right. So I'll give you a quick peek of what it looks like installed. So that little manifold fits around that base nice and tight. And you know, I can't believe it. I had to go out and buy styrofoam peanuts. I get so many of them shipped here. But what we're going to do is we're going to load that up with nice pretty pink peanuts that I just went and bought, and we're going to go ahead and do a full static test here. I'm going to go ahead and get the bucket drilled, and I got to get a drill in it. If you look right, oh, it's going to not focus on that. Right at the switch right here, there's a little hole. So I'm going to put a piece of welding wire out the side, and that's my arming switch. And then we're going to test it with a lid and everything. So we're going to go set up outside and blow some peanuts around outside the shop. And then I got to I just want to see it work, but I'm going to try to capture it on GoPro and capture it on here on this camera too. All right, so let's do one last test and we can wrap this thing up. Yeah, it's messy enough. Okay guys, well that's the end of this episode. I played around with some different manifolds. This one had 1/8" holes, and I finally settled on 1/16 holes. You get a little bit longer burst, but not quite so violent. The larger holes, you get a really crisp hit, and it wasn't getting all the stuff out of the bottom. So I tested it a couple of times, but I'm going to go with the 1/16 holes on 2" centers around the perimeter. Now everyone's asking, who's getting this thing? Who the heck are you sending this to? It's going to our friend over in Australia, Mr. Bruce Witham. He's got a pallet coming anyways. It's going by boat. If this was going by air, I wouldn't be able to ship it. It looks way too much like a bomb. So no, this is just going by regular slow boat to Australia. And it's going to be on a pallet full of stuff that he's getting anyways. So it'll be right in the middle with his name on top, and let's hope he gets it on film. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for tagging along just to see how all this stuff got put together. We'll see you on the next one.